According to the National Australia Bank, in 2023, 1 in 3 Australians identified money as a significant cause of stress in their lives. The 3 main forms of stress were not having enough money for an emergency, not having enough money for essential needs like food, and being unable to pay a bill. In the midst of the cost of living crisis, it seems people are more stressed about money than ever before. And you don't have to look far to see the evidence of the profound impact financial stress on your physical and mental health. Today, we're going to talk about just how much of a toll financial stress can take on your health. This is very important to understand because money is a universal stressor which affects everyone at one stage or another. It really does touch every part of our lives. It's the modern day means of survival. So if not managed properly, money can be a chronic stressor which is difficult to escape. And at the end of this video, we'll talk about some things that you can do to manage or reduce your stress levels to hopefully avoid the significant health consequences. With that said, and before we get further into it, I'm not a doctor and I don't have any medical training or qualifications, so please don't take this as medical advice. And just make sure that you seek medical advice from your medical practitioner if you have any concerns about stress in your life. When you experience stress, your body activates a system called the hypothalamic pituitary adrenocortical axis. Now that's a catchy name, but let's just call it the HPA axis for short, shall we? The HPA axis controls your body's response to stress, which starts with the release of a bunch of hormones in your brain and then in your adrenal glands, which are located on top of your kidneys and release the body's stress hormones, being adrenaline and cortisol, into your bloodstream. These 2 hormones trigger the fight or flight response. They give us an adrenaline boost and increase our heart rate, blood pressure, blood sugar, and blood flow to our muscles. And it puts non-essential functions like digestion on pause. This gives us a physical boost to our body to fight off the threat or run away. So short-term stress is not a bad thing, as your body's response can be helpful in increasing your performance by giving you that extra burst of energy and focus to complete an important task, meet a deadline, or get through a challenging situation. But if the stress persists over a long period of time, which is known as chronic stress, this can result in the constant activation of the HPA axis and increased cortisol levels, which can disrupt the normal functioning of your body and lead to chronic illness. Your body is just not built to be in a continued state of fight or flight. Since financial stress is one of the main causes of chronic stress, it can have a very harmful impact on your physical and mental health, which we're going to get into right now. So for the general signs of chronic stress, it's not always obvious that you're under chronic stress. You might know that your financial situation or life more generally has been intense for a while, but you might feel like you're tracking okay. There are lots of general signs of chronic stress to look out for, which you might not otherwise put down to chronic stress. These include things like being regularly tired and irritable, experiencing frequent headaches, having difficulty concentrating, getting a cold every other week and struggling to shake it, having stomach issues, body aches, tense and stiff muscles, breakouts on your face or unexplained rashes on your body, and having insomnia, which includes having trouble getting to sleep and also trouble staying asleep. And if that's not enough for you, let's turn to some of the more major effects of chronic stress, which actually help explain most of these general signs that you'll see pop up when you're under too much stress. A depressed immune system. Stress ramps up the activity of your immune system. So when you experience long periods of sustained stress, your immune system becomes overactive and weakened. Chronic stress results in constant high levels of cortisol, which is the stress hormone, which prevents immune cells like white blood cells from dividing. So your body is making fewer of these cells, which are responsible for fighting pathogens and viruses. So this leads to your body being less able to fight infections. And as a result, you get sick more easily and you have a harder time getting over the sickness. This constant immune response, which is triggered by stress, can also cause an imbalance in pro-inflammatory proteins by having too many, which can cause issues like chronic inflammation and autoimmune diseases. Inflammation over long periods can prevent your body's cells from healing and regenerating, and it's linked to many diseases like heart disease, diabetes, cancer, and premature aging. Another major effect of chronic stress is cardiovascular problems. The hormones that are released when we experience stress raise our blood pressure and insulin levels, and they cause inflammation of our blood vessels. So over time, chronic stress can lead to hypertension and the buildup of plaque in the arteries. Together, this increases the risk of heart disease and events like heart attack and stroke. Also, high levels of cortisol can make your brain seek easy pleasures to reduce your stress, like binging on junk food. Your brain tells your body to replenish its energy stores with energy-dense foods, so you crave high-calorie foods, which leads to weight gain. So it's no surprise then that chronic stress is positively correlated with obesity. And obesity can of course lead to other things like heart disease and an increased risk of heart attack and stroke. Digestive and stomach issues is another major effect of chronic stress. Because your brain and your gut are controlled by many of the same hormones, and less energy is devoted to digestion during times of stress, chronic stress can cause issues with your gut and digestion. It can disrupt the natural rhythmic contractions of your gut as well as the health of gut bacteria. This can result in many issues like stomach cramps and pains, heartburn, indigestion, bloating, nausea, diarrhea, and even conditions like irritable bowel syndrome. Mental health problems are another major effect of chronic stress. There is clear evidence that people in financial distress, which is a form of chronic stress, are more likely to suffer from anxiety, depression, and substance abuse, as people resort to this to try to deal with their stress and mental illness. And there is equally clear evidence that mental illnesses affect your physical health. So I hope you're starting to get the idea that chronic stress is all pervasive. It affects the whole body and mind, and that all the effects of chronic stress are connected. Brain function is another big one. Chronic stress can change your brain's size and structure, and therefore it can have a direct effect on your brain's functioning. So chronic stress rewires your brain, which impacts on your processing abilities, long-term memory, cognition, mood, concentration, decision-making, judgment, and social interaction. All in all, your brain is just performing at a much lower level when you're subjected to chronic stress. Also, sustained high cortisol levels heavily affect the quality of your sleep and also your ability to sleep, which further worsens brain health and functioning. This one really drives home the pervasive impact of chronic stress, as it can even affect our DNA. Chronic stress can cause the protective ends of chromosomes, known as telomeres, to be shorter. Telomeres measure a cell's age. Basically, telomeres shorten throughout our lives as cells divide and DNA replicates. Once the telomeres get too short, the cell dies. The shorter the telomeres, the greater the risk of there being errors in copying the cell's genetic code, and so the greater risk of disease. So the length of telomeres is a pretty good sign of someone's health, and chronic stress can advance the aging process this way. So what can you do to alleviate financial or chronic stress? The best thing you can do to deal with chronic stress is to eliminate the thing that's stressing you. If it is financial stress, there's lots of resources on YouTube, and I'm building them up on this channel that can help you turn around your financial situation. But being realistic, this isn't something that you're going to be able to change overnight. It will take some time. So what else then can you do to reduce your stress levels? The truth is, there is no magic formula, but in my opinion, the biggest thing you can do is to change your relationship with money and how you respond to financial stress. So what you can do is take control of your money, have an abundant mindset instead of a scarcity mindset, and choose not to get into debt. Again, there are plenty of resources on YouTube, and I'm building them up on this channel, which can help you with this. Otherwise, it's basically just about doing a combination of things that are generally good for you, like exercise, eating healthily, meditation, getting enough sleep, staying socially connected, and any other coping mechanisms that work for you. This will reduce the effects of cortisol and stress on your mind and your body. I also urge you not to feel shame around your stress and your situation, and to seek professional medical advice regarding any physical or mental concerns you have before it's too late. The fact is that you're not alone. We all experience financial stress and other stress from time to time in our lives. All we can do is prepare ourselves in a way so that we're able to manage and reduce it the best we can. Think of stress and your body like a rubber band. It's okay for a rubber band to be stretched, but when it's under constant, unreleased pressure, it could snap. Well, that's it from me today, guys. I hope this video has given you a deeper understanding of what a devastating impact financial stress can have on your health. Again, if you're struggling with this, please make use of all the resources at your disposal and get yourself in front of a doctor who can help you as soon as possible. Hopefully through this channel and the community we're building, we're able to help a lot of people get through to the other side, or ideally help them avoid financial stress altogether. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, and you might want to check out this video on the screen right now, all about 6 money habits that might be keeping you under financial stress. But thanks so much for watching, guys. Take care of each other, have a great day, and bye bye.